Quinn,
Hey.
do you like the new coilovers I got for my NC?
What is this?
This is the coilovers I got for my NC. What's wrong with them?
Where'd you get these?
I got these from eBay.
What happened here? Look at this. This is what you need.
Oh man.
Hold that back up. This is like you versus the guy she told you not to worry about.
Oh. What is up, guys? We are back with the NC. And what are we doing, Quinn?
What's this project called?
This is just the Project NC.
Project NC Miata?
I don't know, the best Miata, let's call it.
Whoa, let's calm down now.
For what I'm using it for, which is driving this thing all over the place. Like I literally drive this thing everywhere. This is the car.
I mean, the NC is a really good Miata.
Yeah.
I would say the NC is definitely better than the old ones.
My NC's one Achilles heel though was that the coilovers that were on this car when I bought it, they're just too stiff. They're the Meister R Club Sports, yes. So the spring, it's really high spring rates. It's not a lot of travel. It's focused more on track stuff as opposed to like, you know, daily driving and stuff. So not what I was looking for.
You should put the disclaimer out there, you didn't buy them.
No, I didn't buy them. They were on the car. And they are like a decent coilover if all you want to do is track stuff. Like
No, just tell them they suck. They're garbage.
I took the NC on track with those coilovers. They felt good. It felt good on track.
They're stiff enough.
They're stiff enough. Yes.
They're
exactly.
very light, which I was surprised.
No, I wish we didn't weigh them, but we did weigh the difference. But anyway, what?
Oh, don't tease them for crying out loud.
Yeah.
12 pounds down in the rear.
Yeah.
10 pounds down in the front.
Yeah, I know.
So
You would not be happy if you were doing this.
we're adding 22 pounds of weight with coilovers, but it makes up for it because
Yeah, what we're replacing them with is arguably the best riding coilover on the street.
yeah.
These are the Goodwin Racing Roadster Sport Club Sport coilovers. And if you know anything about Miatas, one of the first things you probably notice is that these are the OEM top hats.
They're ginormous.
Ginormous.
The RX-8 uses the same deal for the most part. They're enormously long top hats, and that was one of the things I talked about. I don't know when this video is airing, but switching from my Tane Flex Z's,
back to
which came with an aftermarket top hat, just like yours did, shrunk.
Yep.
Back to the Olin's, I had to transfer my stock top hats in play.
Yep, and I think that's why Olean's, like, they choose to use OEM top hats, is just because it's already a great design. It's right from the
they don't want it. They're just cheap asses, and they don't want to mill.
Let's go with it's the
top
best
hat
design,
out of them.
Quinn.
I mean, Mazda knows how to set up suspensions.
They do.
They make some of the best suspensions out there, but you know, I'm all about weight savings, so I would have loved to seen a giant top hat, all aluminum, to save some weight. But you know, I get it. Olin's process.
These aren't that heavy. These are aluminum.
What?
These are aluminum.
Yours are aluminum?
Mine are aluminum. Yeah.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Hold on here. Mine are steel. Are you telling me I could have just bought NC Miata top hats? Oh.
They're aluminum.
Oh, but you know what though? I don't have the brackets.
Yeah, the brackets for the RX-8 are different.
Oh.
It has brackets.
I'm dying, kids.
Yeah. NCs don't have brackets. Is it a strut tower bar that connects the two? Or is it like attached to like the body?
RX-8 literally has like it's a part of the body. It's part of the unibody, and then there's two big juicy bolts that attach it to it. Which, like, I'm sure you can run that in the RX-8, but it's like how much, you know, RX-8's a very rigid chassis. Like, I'm sure that there was a reason they did that for the rigidity, but anyhow.
Yeah.
I digress.
Yep.
So
back to these things. So this setup I was really attracted to because they focus on the amount of travel in the suspension. This is actually, I don't think there's another coilover out there for the NC Miata that has as much travel as this does.
I mean, for the sake of comparison,
yeah.
One more time here. I mean, this is unbelievable, right? This is still the rear shock in both scenarios.
Yep.
Which one do you think offers more travel?
And will be more compliant on the street.
And why do you want travel?
Because
so you can drive like an asshole while cornering over bumps, and the car doesn't do anything stupid and puts you off into the wall. That's why suspension travel does matter in a sports car. That's why the RX-8 is so good, and that's why Mazda cherry picked the RX-8 suspension and transplanted it over to the NC. All right, that's my spiel.
Yeah. So I really liked this setup, one, because it used the OEM top hats. Goodwin Racing actually worked with Progress and Coney to develop this. They have, Progress created the custom dual rate springs. This is not a progressive spring, this is a dual rate.
It looks like a progressive.
It does look like a progressive, but these are actually like integrated helper springs in the top. The spring rate here is, I forget what, I'll put the spring rates up on screen right now. I forget them off the top of my head. It's like 390 and...
Give them the cliffs on a progressive versus a linear spring.
Yeah, well, a progressive spring progressively gets stiffer as it compresses.
Yep.
Whereas these do have dual spring rates, but they're more designed, the top half, the closer sprung spring, part of the spring is more of a helper spring, which actually helps with the droop. So as you go over like articulations in the road, it'll help maximize the amount of suspension droop.
Yes, so it makes the ride more compliant, smoother. Linear rates that's the spring rate.
It is
all the time. Yeah, I don't like progressive springs because the spring rate does change in the middle of the corner, and you can feel that, and the car just behaves a little bit less predictably.
So we are going to show the install. I also, actually, I want to cut right now to the assembly, because I did assemble these before I brought them over here tonight. So let's show that right now. First things first, I am setting a starting point for the ride height. Goodwin Racing, we're starting with the rears, by the way, if you couldn't tell by the top hat. The starting point for height should be about 1.5 inches right here, from the bottom of the bottom perch to the end of the threads here. I've already got that set, so I'm just going to cinch this down really quick. And we probably are going to have to adjust this by the time we get this on the car, but it's Goodwin Racing's recommended starting point. So got that cinched down. Then next, you can see I'm actually referencing the instructions that are provided by Goodwin Racing, which are very, very detailed and good. So first, I am going to take this this collar right here. This goes on first. You just kind of bend this over. I like to bend it back too, to straighten it out. Next up is actually going to be the spring with the OEM spring seat. That goes on next. All right. So after that, there's one of these are actually the poly bushings that are offered from Goodwin Racing, and the one with the step up goes on next, along with the sleeve, which all comes from Coney. So, yep, see that there. Hopefully you're getting this in camera. After that, we're going with the top hat mounts. And one thing to note, there is a cutoff in the spring perch, and that aligns with this bolt or nub here. You can see, you'll be able to tell. We'll just take a look. Just slide that on. Make sure we got that in the right place. There we go. And following that, you'll be able to see the orientation. You'll see the taper is actually got to go towards the top. That's the way it fits best in the top hat. And then next up is this sleeve, or the spring seat. And here I'm going to bring this. So these are the two nuts that have to go on next. The bottom one gets torqued down to 37 foot-pounds, and once you get that one torqued down, you torque the top one down to 15 foot-pounds. Now, and once you get it started, you spread it down as much as you can by hand. Then I'll move to a 3/8 ratchet. You'll feel it start to get tighter. And then I'll move over to the torque wrench. So if you don't have these and you work on cars, these are really thin wrenches, also commonly used in like bikes and stuff like that. These come in very handy, especially with stuff like this, where you need something low profile to hold one of the nuts while you tighten the other one. So these go down to 15 foot-pounds. I'm going to adjust here. I'm going to use this wrench here to hold it while we tighten this. All right, yeah, that one was no problem. So that's not going anywhere. That's assembly of the rear. It's very, very straightforward, especially with the instructions that are provided by Goodwin Racing. Just take your time, lay everything out, and should be very easy to do. All right, so next we got everything laid out for the front as well. The space for the measurement for starting height for the fronts is 2 inches as opposed to 1.5 in the rear. So I have that set already. There we go, got those cinched, and we'll probably adjust those, like I said, once we get the car down on the ground. So it's really just rinse and repeat. I've already got the spring seat in the spring. First up is the bump stop spacer. So we got our bump stop spacer. Our bottom coney washer is already on, which you can see right here. Next up is the bump stop with the step facing up and with the sleeve installed. We slide our spring on. So the fronts are a little bit more difficult. You have to push down on them quite a bit more. So I'm gonna have to do this on the ground, but I've got my bushing up on top, my poly bushing, grab the two nuts. This might be hard to get on camera, but you have to kind of push down on this to get some of the threads exposed. You can also, if you got a spring compressor, that would work as well. All right, so I was able to get that started with off camera. I needed to use my knee and both my hands to get that. But so I've got the first nut started. So I'm just going to tighten this down until you'll feel it get tight. There we go. Cut the torque. Sorry, doing everything is always harder on camera than it is just doing it. So trying to do my best to show off like what this looks like, but it's a very simple install or assembly. But so yeah, that's a quick rundown of the assembly on both the front and rear coilovers for the Goodwin Racing Roadster Sport Club Sport coilovers. I'm so excited to see these things in the car and feel these things in the car because they are supposedly unbelievable in terms of ride quality, which is exactly what I want out of this car. It's just a street car. All right. And so now we're just going to show you, we already did one side because I wanted to be able to show the comparison of the Meisters to the Goodwin Racing coilovers. But we'll do a run through of exactly what you need to loosen, what you need to move out of the way to get to do the install of the coilovers. And then after that, we're going to drive it.
Perfect.
All right, so just so you're not sitting here watching us tighten or loosen a bunch of bolts and move some stuff out of the way, we're gonna go do a quick rundown on exactly what you need to remove and loosen to get these old coilovers out and the new ones in. So if you see on top, I've already removed the strut tower bar that connects from here to this mounting bracket right here. We're gonna loosen all of these. We're gonna take the bracket off and the 3 bolts that hold the coilover from the top. We are going to remove the 2 bolts for the A-arm, the upper A-arm, this one and this one here. We'll have to remove the brake line, and there's also an ABS line right here that you'll have to remove from the knuckle. And that is so that once this A-arm is disconnected, the whole knuckle assembly will actually slide down, and as you drop the coilover, you'll be able to pivot it and pull it out of the car.
And disconnect the brake line and the ABS line before you disconnect the control arm.
Yeah.
That's why you're disconnecting them, is because with the control arm free, the knuckle can pivot forward, and you don't want it pulling on those.
Okay. All right, so that went really well, actually. Once we got the A-arm off, the knuckle came out, we slid the new coilover in. One little note, we did take this little fork right here that goes on the lower control arm. You kind of bring it in here, over closer to the knuckle, so that you can get the top part nuts started on the inside of the engine bay. And then once we got everything connected and loose, you don't want to tighten all your suspension components at this point. That's very important. But so we got the bolts in and loose. We then just kind of hung from the control arm and started this last bolt for the bottom on the coilover.
And that's only because this is a longer assembly. Yeah. If you're installing something that's a shorter body, like, it's going to go in there easier as well.
Yeah. But yeah, that took 5 minutes. not bad.
Easy peasy.
So let's go to the rear. All right, so this is the shot from inside the trunk. You do have to take some of the plastics off. That's really easy. They all just have these little poppers. And for the driver's side, there's a little aluminum shield for the gas fill up. You gotta take those off. It's just a couple of M6s or M10s, whatever they are. This is a nice shot of like, I've got one of the, that's the OEM top hat on the driver's side. And then here's the Meister on the passenger side. So removing the Meisters is a lot easier than installing the ones with the OEM top hats, just because of the amount of space you have. But yeah, it's once you get past the plastic, it's really easy. There's just the 2 nuts on top, and then there's one bolt that goes in from outside the car on the bottom that goes straight up into the top hat. So yeah, that's all you need to do from inside here. So the trick to the rears. They're pretty easy. You've got these 2 upper control arms right here, and all I did was actually I just unbolted both of them. And once you unbolt those 2, you can move the knuckle around enough so that you can finagle the coilover in and out. It's just you just got to be careful. I think you just kind of go out, down a little bit, and then the top, and then you have to like kind of. It's hard to see with this. You have to get the bottom like down here, and then just pull it out from the front. Rolling. All right. One of the most important things whenever doing any sort of suspension work where you're, loosening control arms that have bushings in them, you can't just tighten them back when there's no load on the suspension. Think about it like this: like if your suspension's completely drooped right now, if you tighten these bushings the way they are at this droop, when you go to put the wheels back on and put the car back down on the ground, those bushings are stuck in this full drooped position. It's not going to articulate. It's not going to go up as much as it should. It's not going to compress. That's the word I was looking for. It's late now. It's a late night tonight. No, but you have to put load on the suspension before you tighten any bushings. The NCs, I guess, are notorious for it. You could drop the car on the ground or on some. What do they call those race ramp things?
Just put a jack under the hub.
Yeah, we have a transmission jack and we got the lift. So
I'm saying if you're on jack stands, just put a regular jack under the hub.
Oh yeah.
Compress it that way. That's what I used to do before I had a lift match you.
I know, but look at this. We have a transmission jack and we have a lift like this. Look.
If you kids go down the Harbor Freight and use a coupon, you can have one of those too.
Yeah. Just wait for a Labor Day sale. I'm just waiting until it shows that it's getting a little light on the jack point. I don't want to go too much. Yep, I saw the car come up a little bit. So now I'm just going to snug down all the control arms that we loosened in order to get the coilovers in. But this was a super easy install. Like, this is great. I love Miatas. They're great. Quinn used to. Now he's got a Supra.
I love that RX-8 that's sitting over there.
I love that RX-8 sitting over there too.
Dang. I mean, the Supra's pretty rad too.
He let me drive it today. It's great.
I let you take for a little spin.
I got to drive an auto Supra that's got a downpipe and a tune. Like, this is Felix's Supra, and he's got a tune on the transmission too, and the steering wheel with like the nice like magnetic shifters. And then I got to go to a manual Supra. Like, I drove to a place in an auto Supra that's tuned like that, and then I got to drive home in a manual Supra. What a freaking day.
Which one did you like better?
All right.
Don't lie, bitch. You better be honest.
I would rather own the manual Supra, but I did really enjoy that ZF box with the tune on the box and those paddle shifters.
What if you had to pick one as is today? Felix is all tuned up.
Oh, come on.
That's it.
Still manual.
We'll get to the
manual.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Because you know my car is slower.
I know your car's a little slower, but
all right, I'm fishing for the truth, so I have to put you in these.
I think it'd be cool to have, like, for a daily driver, a nice like flappy paddle auto box that's nice to drive. I kept the thing in manual mode and I was just controlling all the gears. It felt great.
All right, let's tighten these.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm getting distracted. Tired. Oh, so there was only those 3. So it was the 2 control arms, and then I'm just waiting to tighten this one on the actual suspension bolt.
Bottom shock mount.
Yeah.
That one don't matter.
Yeah, I don't think this one really matters as much as the other 2.
No, it sits on a collar or a sleeve. That's a part of the hub.
Yeah.
Look at that.
There we go. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the front. and then we'll close out the video.
And we're done. We're not even going to show you that because you get the gist.
Yeah, exactly. Just compress it and tighten.
Easy peasy.
So we're just finishing up the install on the Goodwin Racing Roadster Sport Club Sport coilovers. I wanted to give a huge shout out to Goodwin Racing. They helped me tailor these coilovers to exactly the type of driving I want to do. They even went as far as asking me about my current wheel and tire setup, which was the Enkei RPF 1s in 17x9 plus 45 with 245s. It was a little bit too wide and too aggressive of an offset for the amount of travel that it's going to be in the suspension. So what they actually did was help me pick out a set of wheels, which I'm going to be using more for like high performance driving, like at the FCP Euro Proving Grounds. They helped me out with a set of these Koenig Hypergrams in 17x8, so not quite as wide. 17x8, they are a plus 45 with some 235, 40, 17 Dunlop Dureza Z2s, which are a 200 tread wear tire. So I'm going to be using these when I want to do more of the high performance driving like I said, at FCP Euro or my summer driving. Still going to get another set of wheels for New England because I do drive this car as long as there's not salt on the road. I will drive it in whatever temperature it is here, and it gets pretty cold here in Connecticut, and these Durezas probably won't grip that well in the winter. So thank you, shout out to Goodwin. I bought my first set of wheels for my first Miata from Goodwin Racing back in like 2014. My dad bought a set of wheels for his Caterham back in like 2006 from Goodwin Racing. They know everything there is to know about wheel fitment on Miatas. They know what size and offset will rub, what size and offset will require fender rubbing. Yeah, they're great to work with. Huge shout out to them. But I'm gonna mount these wheels up and then we're gonna get to driving this car and see how it rides. All right, I know this has been a long video, so I'm gonna wrap this up as quick as I can. I gave myself a little bit of time. This is actually a couple weeks after the install, maybe even 3 weeks after I did the install. I just wanted to give myself a little bit of time to live with the car and drive it like every day and go through all the situations that a car normally does driving on the street. And it's perfect. It really is, like, in my opinion, the best suspension you can do. It's exactly what I wanted for a street car. It's tight, but it's composed is like the best way I can describe it. I don't really feel like going from the Meister R Club Race coilovers to these, I don't think I really even sacrificed anything as far as handling. Like maybe on a track with really sticky tires, which those coilovers, I don't want to like talk bad about them. For a Club Race coilover with that high of a spring rate, it actually was pretty good on the street. Like that's why I was able to live with it for almost a year of ownership now with this car. But these are just so much better for a street car. It's just like with the extra travel. I haven't bottomed them out yet, which I used to bottom out the Meister R's all the time. But it's still tight. Like turn-in's great. I don't feel much more flex at all. I still have the Racing Beat front sway bar on it. I don't know if I necessarily have to change it because I still feel like the suspension's got a lot of travel. I'm gonna, continue to develop this car. I'm just driving it as it is right now with the parts I have. As I find issues with them that I don't necessarily like, I'll change them. But right now, like honestly, I don't think I have to change anything on the suspension. It's so good. Like bumps that used to be a huge pain are just not, and it's just all due to that extra suspension travel. It's so good. Although, look, I don't even know why I have to say this. Like we all know Goodwin Racing. Like we all know their history with Miatas, and I love how much focus they put on the NC Miata specifically. I do have their mid-pipe and Super Q muffler as well, and I've got a completely uncorked exhaust system, and it's perfectly livable. I don't even know if you'll be able to hear it. Like, you can hear it when you get on it, and when you have the top down, but for a completely uncorked exhaust, it's so mild. It's unbelievable. Yeah, they just do a great job, and I knew that, like, when I was reading, you know, the description on their suspension, this is exactly what I needed for this car. Thank you, Goodwin Racing, Ryan and Brian, for helping me out with making this car exactly what I wanted it to be. Yeah, that's really it. It's so good. It's so good. I have nothing but great things to say about this suspension, and definitely go check out Goodwin Racing. They know what they're doing. The only thing from their exhaust I don't have is their header, which actually, if I do decide to end up doing a 2.5 in this car, maybe I'll end up reaching out to them about a header. I don't know. I still don't know what I want to do. The car's fun to drive right now. It could use a little bit more power, but it's just great for just a driver, a proper driver. Like, I drive this thing every day. Anytime I'm going somewhere by myself, this is the car I'm in. I put 5,000 miles on it since I bought it, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I work from home. Yeah, I'm probably rambling a little bit, but yeah, if you like this content, check out our website. We're building out our store, and our store is based on, like, the cars that we own and drive, and these are all parts that we use in our own cars. So yeah, if you want to help us out, we don't do Patreon or anything like that, but if you want to help us out, order some parts from the store. If you don't see something you're looking for, reach out to us. We might be able to get our hands on it. But yeah, that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for tuning in. See you in the next one. Done.